Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Friday. Unless it's not a Friday and you're watching this on another day, but happy day. Doesn't matter what day it is, right? Today is a cloudy, rainy day outside. I'm thinking of doing one of my videos, upcoming videos outside in the sunshine by nature, because I haven't really done that yet. And I was thinking of doing it today, but it's still raining out. Anyway, so I wanted to share a video today about my first and so far only trip to my 10-day silent retreat. It was actually my 10-day Vipassana meditation silent retreat. This was back in September of 2013, and I've been meaning to share my experience, but for some reason I haven't yet, so I'm going to do that now. I think after the Vipassana meditation, the 10-day silent retreat, I wasn't sure how I felt about my experience. I was still processing a lot, and but now I've come out of it. Obviously it's been a while, and now I can see things clearly as to how my experience was, and I'm happy to share it with all of you. So what is Vipassana meditation? I don't have this memorized, but Vipassana means to see things as they really are, which is very humbling. What I really love about this, the background of Vipassana meditation, is that it's not a fixed religion or belief or spirituality. It's basically anyone from all walks of life, any form of religion, spirituality, they come in, and it's really about focusing on the mind and really observing the self and really noticing how the mind is programmed to either cling into the sensations of pleasure or try to resist and push away the feelings of discomfort. And so we recognize this being within ourselves and meditating, that this is what happens. This is the pattern of the mind. So it's about self-transformation through this self-observation. And it was quite interesting because I decided to go. I have a couple friends who have gone and had good experiences. I didn't know what to make of it, but I did have high expectations as to what I kind of wanted to happen. I wanted to have these mystical, out-of-body experiences. You know, deep down, I'm just being honest, this is what I was hoping to get out of this experience, but nothing like that really happened. Not exactly anyway. What happens is you go into this retreat, and you go in, I think I went there on a Monday afternoon, and then that evening you have dinner, you get acquainted with everyone, and then by after supper time, that's when the silent starts, and then it ends on the 10th day. So you have time to talk to people, get to know people, and just a little bit anyway. And the men and women are separate, so there's a section for the men, section for the women. There's room and board, you get fed veggie food, so it's no meat, no nothing like that, but it's not totally vegan because there is dairy, but there's, if you have allergies or if you can't take dairy, you can let them know and they will try to accommodate you as best as they can. What made me want to go was I just wanted to delve deep into myself because I was going through a huge transition. 2013, it was a lot of changes and a lot of not so much outer changes, but changes within me that I didn't know how to deal with or how to make sense of what was going on. So I went, and there's a set schedule. So you get up in the morning and you meditate, and then there's like breaks in between, and there's meal times in between. I don't want to get too much into the details as to what the schedule is. I'll send you a link to the website, and if you're interested, they do this all around the world. And it's a Buddhist type of, you know, practice, but it's not based on Buddhism only. It's really universal, because they don't even talk about the soul. They don't talk about any of that except for the oneness. And when you can eventually just connect and be in a place of equanimity and just accepting things as they are, that's when you can even surpass the experience of having a body, and then connect more to the greater realm of the oneness and wholeness of everything and everyone. So first couple days was, you know, a little tough, just because you're trying to slow down your mind. And, you know, I am a very active, air, cerebral type of girl. I have all these air elements in my chart, so it was quite interesting to, you know, I have no problems kind of retreating to myself and being with myself. You have to be careful. You can't really talk to anyone during the 10-day. And if you want to share something, if you have a concern, you can talk to someone, but it's only when you have a concern or a question or something like that, you talk to one of the people who are part of the teachings and who work there. So the first couple of days, just try to slow down my mind. And the first night I was there, I couldn't sleep. And it was funny because my mind was just like ramping with thoughts, and I couldn't stop. So I felt like my ego was kind of getting tripped up, and it was just getting prepared, I guess, but I just racing thoughts. So I didn't sleep very well at all and had to get up really early the next morning. So after that, yeah, sleep was kind of rough. Even after the next night, I would try to go to bed. I think the lights were out around 9 o'clock or 9:30, and you think I've been up so long all day early, and I didn't sleep well the night before, but I was still exhausted, like just completely done, but I couldn't like pass out. I couldn't fall asleep very easily, so it took me a while again. It's kind of interesting because when you're in a state of meditation, you're not really doing much physically, and then you think you're tired, you're actually not. You're in a different state. It's just very interesting. So I had trouble sleeping the first half of the week. My first 3-4 days was probably the most difficult. And it's hard to remember because I didn't journal, I didn't write, I didn't read, I didn't do anything because they say not to. I mean, you can always cheat and do it in your little private space if you want, but I was really trying to abide by the rules and just be within myself. And I was definitely having those agitating moments where I was just feeling very restless inside. I wanted to do something, I wanted to read something, go somewhere, but I just had to sit with it and just deal with the experience of these emotions coming out. So yeah, no text messaging, I didn't call anyone, nothing like that. So it was very secluded, personal space for myself. So it's hard to almost believe it was actually a full 10 days, because when I look at it, I can't really remember each day, but I can remember by the fourth day, you can definitely see the mind slowing down, and you can start picking up more on what your mind is saying. It's not just like all these thoughts, racing thoughts back and forth. Sometimes it's just able to pick up the thoughts, and they're a lot slower, and it's almost like you become more aware because there is a stillness, but there's still a little bit of, chatter in there. And it was almost like listening to my mind that was like a different entity, or like I almost felt like I was even schizo. It's kind of like you're listening to a voice and you're like just laughing at it because it's just absurd, some of the things it's saying, right? And you're starting to experience that separation, and you're starting to just become aware of all of it, which was funny and interesting and kind of amusing too. But after about the third day, I started feeling some bodily sensations. I started feeling pain. The third day, I was feeling extreme pain in my right shoulder, like underneath the shoulder blade. It felt like someone was stabbing a knife underneath. It was slowly and gradually started getting more and more intense, and I kept thinking, oh my God, I need to see my chiropractic, I need to get a massage, something. Like these are the fear-based thoughts that were coming to my mind. And the pain was like so excruciating at one point that I just wasn't moving, and my breathing was very shallow, and I was just trying to stay very, very still during the meditation. But the meditation is really about observing, so not controlling the breath, not chanting, not anything. You're just supposed to observe what you're going through. And so I was controlling my breath, which they say not to. It's about observing the breath. So I was holding my breath or breathing very shallow, trying to minimize this pain that I was experiencing on my right side. And then eventually they gave me something to kind of rest on, so that I didn't have to kind of lean back. I had something to support me a little bit on my back, one of those back chairs, meditation chairs. They weren't very comfortable, but I had extra pillows that I put there, so I had that with me for the rest of the week. So it was interesting because this left side of my body started subsiding, the pain, and eventually went away. And I thought, wonderful, because it says, like during this meditation, the Vipassana meditation, it's scanning the body as well. At one point, you start scanning the body, and you start noticing that all these different sensations coming and going, and the body is in a constant flux of change. You get an itch there, you get a sensation here, you get a burning here, you get a cool sense here. It's constantly moving and changing, and you're just here to observe. And it's all about witnessing the fact that nothing ever stays the same. It's constant change, and not to get attached to those sensations that feel good and mystical and blissful, and not to get resistant or pushy or rejecting when it comes to those feelings of pain. It's kind of trying to sit through all those sensations, good or not so good, and just accept it for what it is, and not getting attached to those good ones or rejecting those bad ones. So as you can tell, I'm trying to just observe this pain and accept it. And eventually it went away, and I thought, oh, it was great. Like, that was just proof that sometimes these things come and go, and they don't really mean anything. And I guess they say during this meditation, this purging, this self-purification, your body goes through all sorts of stuff, and that's what I was experiencing on my right side. So I thought it was over and done with, but funny thing is, all of a sudden, I think 2 days later, the left started triggering. And then all of a sudden, my left shoulder had this sharp pain, and it went on and on and on, and to the point where it was actually even worse than how the right one was feeling. So I thought this was very, very interesting. Here I thought I was almost certain that there was something wrong with my right shoulder, and then I needed to get it looked at or taken care of, and then eventually let that go, and it went away, and thought, okay, it was absolutely fine, like no residual pain or anything. It was absolutely fine. And then all of a sudden on the left side, here we go, this pain, this stabbing feeling was starting. And then to the point where it even transferred around my arm and my shoulder, that I almost felt like I had to hold my arm and my shoulder close to my body. It was almost like I had an injury, or even experienced, it almost felt like arthritis in a sense, because I've had triggers of arthritis. I don't have arthritis, but I was really sick once, and I got triggered with that. It was a one-time thing, but it was kind of like that sensation. So I was really honing in on this shoulder and this the back, like the shoulder blade, and just experiencing the pain, even much more intense, and sitting through it and just letting it be what it was, and having to just deal with that. And then eventually it would subside a little bit. It didn't totally go away through the whole time, but it wasn't as painful by the end of the 10-day retreat. So that was all interesting, and I really realized I was releasing some stuff, and that symbolically I carry a lot on my shoulders. So that was just symbolically, like, I needed to really let go of all this burden I was carrying. So it was very, very interesting. And then I started to wonder by, day 5, day 6, because I wasn't getting any emotional stuff coming up. I wasn't getting any huge experiences or releases. I was having experiences where my body just felt like it was transparent. Like, it almost felt like at points I didn't have a body. It just felt like it was just sensations moving up and down. Although I still knew I had a body. It wasn't that I had an out-of-body experience, but at one point it was just this constant flow of energy, which felt beautiful. And again, I wasn't trying to get attached to that feeling as well. And so I was wondering what else was wanting to come up. And I can honestly say by day 7 I got triggered. Before then it was like more like just annoyances, like something inconvenient, like a memory that would bring a little bit of annoyance or whatnot. I was only getting little bits of that, and then that kind of went away, and I thought, okay, that was that. And then by day 7, all of a sudden I was really triggered, and all of a sudden all these thoughts started racing to my mind of all these things that I went through. Not so much in childhood, a little bit of childhood, but not so much. It was more during my adolescence and later years when I started to really feel lost and incomplete, and there was just a lot of experience that caused me a lot of pain and suffering, and a lot of it was self-imposed. And so I was just grieving the guilt and grieving the shame that I was carrying for myself. So it wasn't that I was sitting there trying to forgive other people or trying to, look at other people in a new light. This all had to do with my own crap, my own baggage that I hadn't really been totally aware of. I didn't really even realize how much guilt and shame I was still carrying. So just witnessing that and crying and releasing. So that was like day 7, day 8. Those 2 days were quite intense, and by day 9 I felt much more centered. And then by day 9 it was almost like the pain of my shoulder, the left shoulder was kind of still there, and I was just witnessing myself checking out. So I would just daydream, and I knew I was doing this, and I didn't stop myself, because anytime I would just daydream about something, even so mundane, like maybe a movie star or a movie I had watched, those thoughts were helping me disassociate from what was going on. So anytime I would space out and think of something, distract myself, I wasn't aware of the pain. And then in the moment I came back and was still and focused, I would experience the pain. So I was in this dance of coming and going, being present and dealing with the pain, and then checking out and, you know, kind of daydreaming. And so that was kind of that for the last 2 days. So yeah, it wasn't really as big as I wanted it. I mean, the experience wasn't as profound, I guess. I mean, it really was, now that I can look back and see what it really was. But at the time, I think there was a bit of disappointment. And when I came back, it was really hard to adjust again. I didn't know what I was feeling, where I wanted to go. I just felt completely just not really connected. And so it took a while, and now I see that I really have dealt with a lot of guilt. And I, even now with being a dedicated teacher and student of the Course in Miracles, and these, you know, videos that I've been talking about guilt, just becoming more clear and more aware of what guilt is and how insane it could be, and that it really doesn't matter, because it doesn't really touch who we really are. These are just experiences and growth spurts and lessons that we've gone through. And so that was definitely, now that I look back on it, it was definitely a lot more healing and profound than I thought previously. So yeah, so Vipassana, you get fed well, and you have a lot of time to yourself, and you can't really look at people because you're supposed to pretend you're not with anyone. But it's kind of funny how the ego is so curious and nosy and just wants to observe, right? And by day 10, it was kind of overwhelming when everyone was allowed to talk again. After the morning meditation, we were able to talk and collaborate, and it was almost like you think you're in a normal state, but you're not, because when I finally came to and people were talking, I felt like I was high as a kite. I did not feel grounded. I felt, and it was almost like all the noise and the talking was almost overwhelming. It was almost too much overload, sensory at once. So but it was really cool connecting with the girls and the guys and hearing their experiences. Met some really amazing, beautiful people at that center. And it's amazing how when you're in this state of stillness and silence for 10 days, and you know, you're not supposed to look at people, but you know what happens, you look when they're walking by, and as you're in your own little world, people during the center, you know, the women that I would pass by or glance at, they all of a sudden, everyone started representing someone that I knew. So someone looked like someone I knew, and someone else looked like someone I knew, and I was able to make distinctions. So it's kind of like, I felt like I wasn't really alone with strangers. It's like these people were all representations of my past or my present, but not in a bad way. It was like no one ever triggered me in a sense that reminded me of someone that I didn't want to be reminded of. But that was really interesting. And then after the 10 day, after we started talking again, I was getting that same comments. I got like 3 women coming up to me and saying, "You remind me of my friend so-and-so, your walk, your mannerisms, your long hair, everything, like, you know, how you're thin," and like all these little things like that they would see, and I would remind them of certain someone. So that was kind of cool. And they always assured me that it was someone really nice, and that they really enjoyed seeing that. They really enjoyed the reminder, so that was really sweet. Yeah, so that was in a nutshell my experience of Vipassana meditation. So it's really about observing thoughts and really letting go of control, and having, it's not about chanting, it's not about visualization. It's a very simple form of meditation that starts with breathing, focusing on your breathing, not trying to adjust it or change it or anything. And then you start focusing up here where the nostril is, or just under your nose. You start feeling the sensations of the breath coming in and out. And I think you do that for the first 2 days. They add layers to it each sequence. So it starts with breathing here, and just feeling the sensations, and then they go to here, where you start feeling from here down, where you start just focusing only on this. And then eventually it starts with the body scan, where you go from top to bottom and then bottom to top, and continuously breathing and just feeling sensations. And that's what the meditation is. I'm probably not giving it justice. I'm just kind of giving it a brief description. But I just wanted to share my experiences, because everyone has different experiences. So don't go in hoping you'll have someone else's experience. Go in open-minded and just be willing to take in whatever you want to take in, and be open to your own personal experience. And that's all I wanted to share with you. So I'll share a link at the bottom of this YouTube channel if you want to check it out and learn more about Vipassana meditation. God bless. I love you all. Take care. And the one prayer that they would say is, may all beings be happy. God bless. If you like my videos, please like them and share them with your friends and family. And if you want to donate, I do have a donations link on my YouTube channel there. And you guys know I'm a holistic counselor and coach. So I work with all these different modalities such as astrology, numerology, card readings, and all that. And I also am a aspiring holistic psychotherapist. So psychotherapy is a form of counseling, and it really delves deep into yourself, and it's embracing your whole self, your body, mind, and spirit. And it helps you not just with people who have mental illnesses, but not really anything, not just that, it's people who want to get to know themselves more, who want to release some stuff from the past, who want to dig deeper, who just want more clarity and insight into their lives. It's good for everything. So I am practicing in my home here in Hamilton. So if you're in the Hamilton area and you are looking for therapy at this time, I'm offering sessions at $25 an hour, which is it's a grab, it's a deal. So I'm offering that price for the duration of my studies. And so if you're interested, please send me an email or message. Again, for any of my services that you're interested in, please check out my website and give me a shout. God bless. Take care. I love you all.